When I look at the landscapes that surround me, I can't help but see them as a continuum of sculpted works meant for us to inhabit. This belief is born from a fusion of my diverse, yet intensely related studies here at the College of the Atlantic. I have acquired the craft of sculpture, not only of shaping clay, cardboard boxes, and molten glass, but also of reimagining buildings, parks, and cities. The arts faculty, architecture and planning professor Isabel Mancinelli, and glassblowers Ken and Linda Perrin of Atlantic Art Glass have instilled in me a passion for good and meaningful design. At the same time, I have learned the language of economics with the help of Professor Davis Taylor. I have come to see that this language, a way to describe the opportunities and constraints that economic forces put on us, can really be used to illuminate reasons for our behavior and solutions to our problem. My senior project, entitled Livable Landscapes, Urban Design Study Beijing, has become an exploration of one dynamic setting where I was able to integrate my craft and language to better understand the complexities of the human habitat. Knowing that I wanted to study the biggest sculpture of them all, the city, for my senior project, I began to prepare for this adventure by supplementing my regular coursework with additional studies. In independent studies with Davis and Isabel, we explored various theories and concepts of urban economics and urban design, some of which became the lens through which I interpreted Beijing. Just two examples of influential theories were those of imageability and space versus anti-space. In Kevin Lynch's seminal work, The Image of the City, he explains that the most important designed elements of the city are the ones that a person can visualize well, identify with, and yearn for when he or she leaves that city. When I think of my city of Boston, I picture Commonwealth Avenue, Chinatown, the North End, and the Charles River. Lynch explains that these memorable locations fall into 5 categories: landmarks, districts, paths, edges, and nodes. Alternatively, Notre Dame architecture professor Philip Bess defines space as the undefined pockets of air between architectural elements that facilitate informal social interaction and maximize spatial equity. Conversely, anti-space is the undefined area around standalone architecture, devoid of any surfaces to which people tend to gravitate. These concepts have become the vernacular I use to digest new study sites. With the skills developed while at COA, I set out to find a city. I chose Beijing for multiple reasons. While my love of Chinese food may have had some influence on my decision, I went to Beijing to learn about a design landscape that is being influenced by entirely different institutions than the one I'm accustomed to revitalize my Mandarin language ability that has become rusty over the past few years, and most importantly, to go on an adventure unlike any other I've been on before. During my 1-month stay, it became evident that Beijing's roles as a political, economic, and culturally symbolic city define its landscapes. It currently has many buildings and streetscapes that demonstrate a prioritization of increasing governmental power and economic competitiveness over constructing more livable areas. In these next 4 slides, you can see the use of monumentality, from monumental architecture that symbolizes political might and perfection, to a very different type of monumental architecture that shows advancement in a globalized economy, to a massive streetscape that emphasizes the car and daily life, to a sprawling metropolis from monumental apartment towers meant to house the growing population. Fortunately, there are two distinct spaces that facilitate critical human activities that Beijing otherwise denies: historic public parks and Hutong neighborhoods, traditional alleyways lined with courtyard houses. While these functions are fulfilled in various other settings, they are not found so consistently or intensely anywhere else. The creation of more spaces like these in Beijing may well produce preferable economic and lifestyle conditions for the residents and elsewhere in China. Essentially, the architectural, political, and economic forces present in Beijing are competing to define the city. This competition is apparent in the juxtaposition of monumental and human-scale landscapes. And it matters because the embedded value judgment will decide Beijing's overall appearance in the future. In many respects, political and economic institutions have gained the same footing in the city's urban design. However, based on my interactions with people in Beijing, it is evident that many citizens and visitors value historic Beijing spaces and cultures and acknowledge the importance of intimate spaces in their daily lives. I hosted an exhibition of my work regarding this study in the Blum Gallery in May and filled the space with infographic posters that illustrated the theories and concepts tied to my research, architectural renderings, photographs, and descriptions of 6 study sites, 3 neighborhoods, and 3 parks that best demonstrated the unique utilities glass sculptures that explore the relationship between structure, nature, and humans, and orientating text and a hand-drawn map of Beijing's roadways. Going forward, I will not only prepare myself for further education in one of the fields involved in this project, but also I will use my senior project as a model approach for new adventures. The first stop is the San Francisco Bay Area, where hopefully I will be moving in September. Thanks very much.